Hey guys, this is Soren, and today I'm going to present something that's a little different than the other videos I've put up on this channel. I came across this story on the StarCitizenTools website, and it says that it used to be part of the Spectrum archives, but that it was removed because CIG was not certain what direction they wanted to go with the lore of the Banu culture. I still found the story enjoyable and wanted to mess around with some text-to-speech software, and thus the following 10-part series was born. I hope that you find it entertaining, and I thank you so much for checking it out.
Charles Grisham reluctantly clicked up his ship's nav comp. He scrolled aimlessly through its star charts for a while, eyes only half focused, watching the colorful lights dance on the screen more than really paying any attention to the actual navigational data.
It would be nice if I could just stay here in Banu space,
he told his ship, and not for the first time. The Reacher, his one constant companion, was a small Banu freighter. The closest human equivalent would be a freelancer, he supposed. Charles had blown the last of his army pension credits on her, years ago, and then only made the barest modifications to the alien craft to better accommodate his human physiology. He had laughed when he first piloted the Reacher out of space dock, and the Banu refit crew joined him. Well, Banu don't exactly laugh so much as spit and tremble, because he knew it wouldn't be at all comfortable for most humans. But it suited Charles just fine.
Let's check the old credit balance,
he said, feigning optimism.
Maybe someone died and left me a fortune.
But when he drew up his account balance, there was no change, as he knew there wouldn't be. He was broke, in the red, actually, since he'd borrowed up to the account's limit too. No money for more provisions, and none for more fuel. If he didn't jump soon, he'd be stranded here on the fringes of Banu space.
Would that be so bad?
He pondered aloud. The alternative was a return to Imperial space, human contracts, human interaction, maybe even begging work from his uncle's consortium, which he had successfully avoided for over 4 years. Currently, he had the Reacher in deep orbit in the Banu system of Geddon, but still just close enough to the system's only inhabited world to keep a tenuous comlink. He avoided the nav comp's glare from the far side of his pilot's board. When he finally looked and saw where he had absent-mindedly stopped scrolling the star maps, his mood soured further.
Orion system. Of course.
Home, back in UE space, physically his home, but not emotionally. Those 1,000 memories everyone has of their childhood? Charles were all in the Orion system. Dad bailing on them on Armitage. Then the Vandal Raiders ravaging their home, not once, but twice. Mom and both sisters lost. Nothing in his memories left any binding ties to home. Charles fidgeted in the pilot's chair a while longer, busying himself with this and that, uselessly lamenting his lack of funds and recent work. Finally, he unbuckled and floated back toward his stateroom. He'd hoped keeping the ship's grav plates turned off might buy him a couple of extra days of energy, then velcroed into his bunk. He drifted off to sleep, hoping for a miracle. His miracle appeared as he slept, in the form of a new message in his comm relay's inbox.
Great.
He moaned.
Who else do I owe money to?
He touched the screen for more data.
Lish too.
Charles held his breath and let a cautious hope wash over him. He carefully touched the screen for playback, grimacing as if it might reach out and slap his face. Lishto's strange but familiar visage appeared on the screen. When was the last time the Banu trader had gotten in touch with him? 2 standard years. More than that? He had changed very little. Why would he, since Banu are effectively immortal?
Charles Grisham.
Lishto began, his non-human mouthparts struggling to form human words. Banu and humans were similar, but different enough that their speech had an otherworldly quality. But Charles had the practiced ear to understand it. He had always liked Lishta particularly, though he always said Charles' full name as if it was one long word.
Charles Grisham, your acquaintance is requested. It is my request that your acquaintance be made for another time. That is, again. I am requesting a renewed acquaintance with Charles Grisham.
Charles caught his meaning. The Banu language tended to be quicker than most human tongues, so Lishto tended to hurry along despite Charles' suggestion that he just slow it all down a beat.
Charles Grisham, An acquaintance renewal is desirable to me. Lish 2, an acquaintance.
He continued and Charles shook his head.
Okay, old buddy, let's get to the point here.
He said, fast forwarding.
Is there any money involved?
That was the other bad thing about Banu's speech. Compared to human speech patterns, Banu's speech was really formal, even ceremonial, so it took them a long time to get to the point. Face to face, Charles would prompt Lichter to just say what he meant, but since this was a recorded message he could only hit the fast forward button a few times and keep his eye out for a characteristic gesture.
Oh, there it is.
He stopped and backed the message up a bit.
Together for profit.
That was the key line. Banu always got serious when they started talking about profit.
Yes.
Lichter had a job for him. A paying job. Charles tossed his head back and enjoyed his first carefree breath in many standard months, and let the recorded message play on.
Together for profit will be this new acquaintance. Mutual profit for services in the new acquaintance.
Charles sat up straighter, brushing crumbs out of his scroungy beard and smoothing out his smelly t-shirt, even though no one could see him. He would need to shave. For whatever reason, Banu don't trust anyone whose mouth they could not see. There would be plenty of time for that. He sped through the message to pick up the highlights.
Partial mutual profit arranged with third-party financial acquaintance.
There would be an advance. Great, he needed one.
New acquaintance in kind with previous mutual for-profit acquaintances. Renew again Toriel foodstuffs acquaintance.
This job would be much like previous jobs. Charles had done other work through Lichter for Toriel Foodstuffs, a human corporation that imported Banu goods into UEE space. Unlike most human core, they had even established a significant presence in Banu territory. Easy jobs. They paid well and never bugged him while he worked.
Full nature of new acquaintance to be shared at coordinates provided.
He'd get the skinny in a face-to-face meeting, which was typical. Banu like to watch you closely when you talk. They pick up on each other's attitudes visually, and even though a human face reveals less to them, it still makes them more comfortable. Fine.
Oh, Lish 2, you beautiful Banu bastard, you've really saved my can.
Charles swung into action. He would have to reply to affirm his acceptance and secure the advance credits, which should be no problem from right here in Geddon. Then he could provision up, get the thrust coupler looked at. That thing had been acting up for a while. He smacked the graph control with a lusty
Ha!
And welcomed the luxurious return of his own weight sinking into his chair.
You know what this means, don't you?
He asked of the Reacher.
No heading back to UEE space. No begging my useless ass uncles for work.
Charles quick stepped through the ship, readying systems and stowing items. A quick trip to Geddon's orbital and he could be on his way. He was smiling so hard his face hurt. He clicked the nav comp back on and scrolled joyfully out of the human systems and back into the systems of the Banu Protectorate.
Okay, baby.
He said, nudging the Reacher's thrusters to life.
Let's get rolling.
To be continued.
Well, that's it for this episode, but Charles' story continues. I really hope you are enjoying the story so far, and that if you are, that you will check out the next episode. If you do like this content, I hope that you will consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I will see you next time.